One of the biggest things I hear from buyers right now is, "Oh, I wish I'd known that sooner." And that it can mean a few different things. One, they didn't need 20% down to buy. Two, the interest rate they could actually qualify for was lower than what headlines in the news and social media led them to believe. Three, working with a full-time professional realtor and lender opened doors to grants, concessions, or rate buydowns they didn't even know existed. And four, that even in Utah's high-priced market, buyers still have choices. Those realizations are powerful, and I want you to have them so you're not smacking your forehead and mumbling down the road, "Oh, I wish I had known that sooner." And at a minimum, at least I can say I shared it with you. So while affordability feels tough, because it is, the market is shifting. A recent national survey asked buyers what would make them feel better about purchasing a home. And to nobody's surprise, lower prices and lower rates topped the list. So here's the thing. Neither are crashing, but both are adjusting in ways that matter to you as a buyer. Home prices across the Wasatch Front have steadied. Let's look at some recent statistics for single-family homes and townhomes across Salt Lake and Davis County. First, for the single-family homes. Listings are up 8% year-to-date over 2024. Closed sales are right on target, and they were up 2% September year-over-year. The median single-family home price is $600,000, virtually flat as it was $599 in 2024. September, though, saw a 4% increase. Townhomes and condos, the median price is $424, up just 1%. Closed sales are down about 8% and 5% for September year-over-year. The translation, prices aren't dropping, but the rate of increase has slowed dramatically for buyers, and that means stability, less guesswork, more predictability when planning for a purchase. So now let's talk about the other big factor for today's buyers, and that's the interest rates. While social media and headlines have screamed 7% and rising, the reality is much more nuanced. Every single buyer I've worked with this year that's closed on a loan was under 6%, and that's thanks to creative strategies like seller's concessions for a permanent rate buydown, lender incentives, and grant programs. And even before the Fed announced their recent reduction a few months ago, many lenders had already positioned themselves quietly at adjusting, lowering rates in anticipation of a market shift. And the result? Buyers who took action early had already locked in comfortable payments. That rate difference of 1% can mean hundreds of dollars a month back in your pocket. So why are local sellers remaining so confident? It's because they're such an equity-rich position in the market. They're not in a position where they've got to sell, and that's keeping the values stable. But it's also creating an opportunity. And to talk about that, let's go back to some additional statistics and a trend we've been seeing happening in the local market. In 2024, homes priced appropriately were selling at 98% of list price. In 2025, that number is 97%. And I believe this demonstrates what we've seen in the market, that sellers are open to negotiating buyer-friendly terms like concessions instead of price cuts. That can be the leverage that gets your rate down, your costs covered, or both. So the real message is, if you're a buyer, you have options. Yes, these headlines can feel overwhelming. Yes, affordability remains a challenge. But if you're waiting for prices to drop or rates to plummet before you act, you could be waiting while prices and rents keep inching up. If you're serious about exploring your real options, it starts with actual numbers, your actual numbers. So let's look at what you qualify for, what programs fit your potential situation, and what's possible when you combine strategy with expertise. Because the one thing I don't want to hear from another buyer is, "I wish I had known that sooner." So if you've been wondering or waiting on the sidelines, this is your nudge to get clarity. Message me or schedule a quick consult, and let's review your buying power, your financing options, and your next steps. I'll promise to help you make decisions based on facts, not fear. I look forward to hearing from you.